Hello and welcome to Geeky Guys. If you're into geeky things, we're the guys for you. Hi there guys, how's it going today? And in today's video, having a bit of a discussion about one of the early 90s anime, Sailor Moon. I think a few people remember this and are fans of this. I want to talk more and more about Sailor Moon as well. I want to talk more and more about some cool animes and whatnot. So this episode, just like for a first off, just to put something out there and start discussing it because I have a lot of good memories from watching early Sailor Moon, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, well, that's more of a girls' anime or whatever, blah blah blah, that sort of thing. I think you can find all sorts of things in all sorts of animes that you can like. It's not strictly a girls' anime or a boys' anime. I know a lot of girls who liked Dragon Ball, as well. I know a lot of girls who liked Naruto and whatnot and other things like that. They're more seen as boys' animes and whatnot. And of course, Pokemon is just the anime of all animes, and everyone basically loves that. But there's a male protagonist mostly for that, or there has been. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to discuss one of the characters from the series, which is my favorite character, which is Ami Mizuno, which is AKA Sailor Mercury, which is perhaps a little reminiscent of who I am and who I like and what I like, sort of in characters and whatnot, I guess. Uh, back in the day with Pokemon and whatnot, and with Sailor Moon and a few other animes like Evangelion that I've watched, and I know that perhaps I shouldn't have watched that back then because I was like 8, 9, 10, 11 or something, whatever, when it came out. That they had some, more lewd sort of things in some of them, and whatnot, and even Dragon Ball and whatnot had some other lewd things in them. Some people will say, well, this is, a 15-year-old girl or whatever, 13, 14, whatever, girl, in this show that you're going to be talking about. And same with, like, I'll talk about Misty, in Pokemon, and Dawn and May and a couple other characters from Pokemon and a couple of those others. Back in the day, those were our waifus. The word waifu wasn't used that much, but when we say those were our waifus back then, people kind of, well, those are, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever, year old girls. But you've got to remember that this is back in the day. This is back when we were, 10, 11, 12 years old, when we were watching these shows. So it was perfectly reasonable. And again, it's a drawing in a sense. Again, it's lines on a piece of paper, and because somebody says that this character is 10 years old, 12 years old, blah, 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 whatever. Now, I'm not going to get into any of that controversial sort of stuff too much, but again, that's what it is. It's not a real person. Yes, it's somebody's imagination of a person or whatever, all that sort of stuff. And it is a very sort of faithful to that character for each person. But again, the thing is, get away from just putting your mind in the gutter. A lot of people's romantic or attraction to some of these characters was purely, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, not, so erotic it became erotic later on in their life, perhaps, or whatever. But they were also not, eroticizing for the most part those younger versions. Well, although there are some erotic versions of some of those other versions, Rule 34 people. But, like, most people want to see those characters grown up, or they want to see they're more interested in the personality of the person. This is what I'm trying to get at. They're trying to get at, you know, who this person is, what they'd be like as a wife or as a husband or whatever. I know a lot of girls who really like Tuxedo Mask and, you know, a couple other characters here and there and whatnot, and would be like, oh, I'd love to have Yamcha as a husband or whatever, because Yamcha's, you know, really kind and all this and that. They go into some of the aspects and some of the characters. Oh, I actually really like Krillin, you know, whatever, blah, 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 whatever, you know. Or oh, I can't wait to see Goku when he grows up, because I reckon he's going to be a hunk or whatever, you know, all of this sort of stuff. So, you know, like, all of that sort of stuff, it's still one of those things where I think people's, you know, a little bit too much onto that stuff. I understand how some people say, oh, well, that might be a line that you shouldn't cross. Yes, it is in real life and in reality, but when you're just talking about a drawing or whatever, or artwork or whatnot, things like that, and it's not hurting a actual living and breathing being, then I just don't follow that kind of. It doesn't hurt anything or anyone if somebody says, I fell in love with this character, you know, what's the problem, you know? Oh, you know, I actually had a crush on this character. You know, what was the problem? That was when you were 10 years old or whatever, you know, again. So, I don't want to get into too much of that argument, but again, like, that sort of stuff always seems to come up, and I wanted to address it just a little bit here, just in case somebody's like, well, actually, you know, in the comments or whatever, I don't want to get into that sort of stuff. You know, it's just not that interesting, and I just think that it revolves around the same, you know, sort of arguments of these are underage persons. Yes, again, I'm well aware of that. But again, you've got to be aware that this is not what I'm trying to get. It's not okay to, you know, to just say you're trying to get away with having your cake and eating it too, sort of thing. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say I very much get what you're saying, but it doesn't matter in a sense. You know, I don't want to go into it anymore, but again, this is how it is. You know, it is that these are artwork. They are not real people. So again, it doesn't hurt anybody to have had, you know, some feelings for these characters. And again, that's what these characters are made for. All these characters are made for is, you know, to have some connection to, you know, it's for somebody to go, I understand what this character is going through because I'm going through the very same thing. And that's what I really liked about Ami. Her character in the show, you know, I think a lot of the characters were very relatable, but again, her character, just to me, her very shy-natured character and whatnot, her very, you know, academic character, though I'm not very academic myself, I'm not a total slouch, but I'm, you know, not the best in the world ever. I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and I can play to my strengths and, you know, try and avoid my weaknesses. That's how I can work through a lot of this sort of stuff, and if I take things slow, then I can get there. You know, it takes me a few other steps sometimes, and just breaking things down into more simple, more manageable parts sometimes to get to the same point, but I get to the same point, you know. And I think, you know, if somebody has that learning disability or whatever, blah, 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 sometimes, or dyslexia or some other issues, that it is just easier for them to go, okay, instead of trying to work this out, what I'll try and do is work this out in another way. I'll try and work out, okay, instead of working out what's 7, like, I don't know, what's 7 on top of 10. It's pretty simple, but just say, hear me out on this. Instead of saying 10 on to 7, okay, they say, what's 10 plus 10? It's 20. Right. I know that 7 is 3 away from 10. So what I'll do is I'll take 3 away from 20 and I'll have the same answer. Now they do this in another way because sometimes some numbers are a bit weird and it's hard to figure them out. It's not so easy as saying 10 plus 7. Okay, so 9, let's say, plus 7. Now it's a little bit more confusing. So again, they round up a little bit to go, okay, well, instead of that, I'm just going to say 10 and 10 on each other. So now I've got 20, and now I know that 9 is 1 away from 10, and 7 is 3 away from 10. And, that means that the total is 4 away from 10, or away from the last number, from 20. So the answer is 16. So they work through it in a bit of a backwards way, but they get there. They get to the same number, basically. Instead of having to go, oh, I don't know how to put those numbers together in such a way, minus the 1, blah, 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 carry the 1, all that stuff. But some people do. I can do that. But again, there's some numbers that I get confused with, so I just do it that way. But anyway, enough of the math lesson. Again, like in the show, these characters are, in every story, in every TV show, in every single thing, it's made for the audience to sort of peer into somebody else's life. And I don't really like to peer into other people's lives that much, but, seeing somebody's life like this, I guess, is a bit more weird, I guess. It's very weird to, watch this as an entertainment show, but I don't like sort of the reality show sort of style stuff and a lot of the stuff that, gets out there and it is overproduced and over-directed and, you can tell it's not really real and it's meant to drive, the narrative of tune in next week, type thing, just to see, them go, oh no, wait, we're going to throw this other wrench in whatever, blah, 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 just to get people to tune in. They make it more about drama between the people, I guess. I don't know. I just don't follow that. I don't like it when it's all about, that sort of thing. There has to be drama in storytelling, but again, like, the thing is, like, there should be, this is why I like fiction. This is why a lot of people like fiction, is because it takes you away from, 100% reality. It gives you that setting and that sense of purpose that this is what, this person has to sort of do and deal with. And it's very much like Marvel Comics again, in a way. Marvel Comics and anime and whatnot often portray sort of the real life sort of struggles of people. That's what they're known for doing. So, to see, this character struggling and going through what they're going through, mentally or whatever, trying to form friendships, trying to, well, I still have to be a good student, I have to do this, I have to, there's so much expectations and there's a lot of pressure and whatnot, despite how smart she is and whatnot, that whole thing, that just resonated with me because, sometimes you just don't get that. And I liked sort of how semi-nerdy she was. I don't know how to put my finger on that. That's the type of girl that I sort of really liked, and still sort of do. The shy, sort of nerdy sort of girl, and just very cute. I don't like overly pretty or whatever girls. I just like very, sort of, I guess, modest girls for the most part, so that's just my taste, you know. I don't like a lot of makeup and whatnot. I don't like a lot of, you know, everyone trying to look like Barbie dolls and whatnot. That's not my preference, you know, again, but that's personal taste. I know some people really like that, but you know, that's just me. But anyway, guys, this has been my discussion on mostly the anime of Sailor Moon, but I've had a little bit of soapboxing here and there, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum as much as possible. But anyway, guys, let me know which Sailor Scout was your favourite Sailor Scout. Do you have some good memories? I always remember the theme song. That was an absolute cracker. You know, but I actually found out, you know, from rewatching some old episodes that they didn't even put it in till, you know, really late, and they didn't even put it in until, you know, very late in the series, almost near the end. That classic, you know, fighting for one, say, you know, all that, you know, was put in near the end. So that was, or it was only for the English, you know, series or whatnot, I think. I don't know. But anyway, guys, again, love to see some great comments about great memories. I don't want to see too many comments about, you know, arguments and whatnot. I want to see some, you know, just good memories and whatnot down there in the comments. Let me know all about it. Please remember that the success of channels like this is based on viewers like you, so please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing if you would like to support this content. You can also get social with us on our Discord and on our Facebook. If you would like to further support the channel, you can go onto our Patreon. All links are in the description. Thank you for your support. It really means a lot. I hope you have enjoyed this video here today. And if you have, I hope you will come back for another one. See you then.